Hello, hello, welcome to the stream. Some weird things are happening. David Snowbeck here from Snowbeck Games. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm going to fiddle with some things for a moment. So the overlay seems to be busted. My OBS profile's weird. Like, why is my webcam not coming through here? Oh, there we go. Okay, one problem fixed. And it seems like the overlay has become disconnected from the Restream API because Ricardo is here and he did not get a character. So we're going to restart this. This happened on a different stream, and I wrote a bunch of code that I thought would fix it, and it appears not to have. Chat connection closed, it said, but I wrote some code to like try to restart the connection. The overlay, by the way, is a Godot app we built on stream some months ago. We could dig into debugging it on stream if we wanted to. I don't know that I really want to, though. Whoa, what kind of character did I get this time? All right, so here comes the test, Ricardo. Say something again, and we'll see if your character can get in there. Hey, BimDav, welcome. You still have the symbols for your words because you do not have the trusted role on Discord. I will give it to you right now, and then you can say something again, and it should appear on the overlay. Let me just move the overlay around so it can really be an overlay. Sorry that this stream has started with just like bookkeeping, essentially. There we go. All right. Hopefully the overlay is actually working. And I do see that Ricardo got in there. I still got a sweet character. I've got like overalls and like a ram's head sort of helmet thing. BimDav has like a shirtless guy with shoulder guards, which seems very gladiatorial. Like that is a gladiator outfit right there. It looks just like you. Awesome. I'm all flustered from the weird beginning. I was going to ask you guys how you're doing, how your New Year has been. If you have any New Year's goals, one of my goals for the New Year is to do more VR games, which unfortunately is not what we're working on this week. We have some stuff still on Rollback coming down. If you guys have any projects you're planning to do in 2022, any updates on your existing projects, I'd love to hear about it. On stream today, I'm hoping to do some playtesting of the Retro Tank Party game, just because it needs more testing, always, and me gathering more logs to do more debugging. It does use the rollback code that we are going to be working on today, so it is related. Let me share the link for you guys to grab a build. So if you go to this page, the 3 vertical dots over here, click those, grab the build for your game. I actually just realized I had forgotten to grab the Linux build for myself. And in a little bit, I will put up a match ID that you can use to get in a match with me. We'll play like one match, gather some logs, and then get down to work is kind of what I'm thinking. So let me just get it running for me. I know the overlay is not working. It should be frozen. That is because I am fidgeting around with stuff here. I'll get it back going in a moment. All right, I will launch this. Snowbeck Games. I should just open the stream with the Snowbeck Games logo and the Godot animation and everything. Oh. So you may notice the art looks a little different. In this version, I merged the art packs that Ross made. Only one of them. I only have one integrated in the game. He sent me the art files for the other ones, and I'm still working on getting those in. If you want to see this beautiful art, you can go to Settings and change the art style to SNES instead of the classic art that you see here. But I want to use Ross's art. I want to give that a little more testing. Let me log in here. And I will paste this match ID. And so download the game, launch it, log in, go to join a game, copy and paste that match ID in, and you'll appear in here. And while I'm waiting for folks to join, I'll see what folks have been saying. Ricardo says his 2022 game dev goal is to release a 3D game. Cool. I also have not done that many 3D games. Of course, VR games are 3D games, but yeah. Hey, Aircy, it is gamer time. It is always gamer time. Ooh, thanks a lot. Tried to get in. Maybe you're using an old build. I hope I'm not. I might have accidentally. I think I downloaded the build. You guys watched me download it. There's a possibility I screwed that up somehow. Let me. I don't know how I would check this actually. Let me look at the timestamp on the file here. January 6th at that time. That seems roughly okay. Aircy got in. Hey, Aircy! I am excited to see how this works with you since you were on a playtest last week. Was that last week? It feels like a million years ago. And I want to see how it works with your network again. Ricardo, let me know if you're still having trouble getting in after, if you download the build again and extract again and it doesn't work again. While I'm waiting for some other folks to get in here, a lot of stuff has happened since last week. That's why it feels like a million years ago. Oh, interesting. You see tanks a lot connecting on your end, but not on my end. That is truly, truly bizarre. So am I the only person who doesn't see tanks a lot? If so, I guess I would ask Ricardo if you could try disconnecting and reconnecting again. That might help. We'll see what happens. So, since last week, I actually went ahead and released the 1.2 version of Retro Tank Party. It is out. It includes the Rollback Netcode that we are going to be working on the stream and have been working on stream for the past 6 months or so. I also started actually releasing the, or getting ready to release the add-on that others can use to implement Rollback Netcode in their Godot game. It has a repo on GitLab. Let me see if I can unstick. There we go. I unsticked Ricardo's character on the overlay. And I've been working on this README. And this took me like all week. Honestly, I thought like, I'll write this README in 2 days and it'll be done. It took me all week just to write these characters, and it still needs like a ton of editing and stuff. But once I finish this, I'm going to actually release it on the asset store. It takes a couple of days to be approved, and I'm hoping next week-ish to have the first tutorial video, although that one won't be very interesting. The first video is basically going to be just explaining what Rollback Netcode is and how it works. We won't actually dig into actually using the add-on, but there is quite a bit of information in the README that a very enterprising individual could probably work it out and get started even now. Okay, Ricardo, just reconnected. And I see you. Okay, cool. And we have some relatively high ping numbers here, which will make this very, very interesting. And I know both Ricardo and Aircy are in Europe. BIMDAV, I don't know if you've mentioned where you're located. Let me know, because I'd be curious to see, what sort of regional mesh we've put together here. Everyone, please hit ready when you are ready, and we'll get in there. Ooh, we've got 4 people too, which oh, I forgot to tell BIMDAV and maybe even Ricardo. I really would like you to have enabled detailed logging in settings. If you guys didn't enable that, you might have to disconnect, go to settings, and go to detailed logging and turn it to enabled, and then come back in. Oh, BIMDAV is in France too. Okay, so we have Aircy and BIMDAV in France. So it's like I'm the only North American person. You guys are probably seeing way better ping numbers to each other than I'm seeing to you guys. So yeah. Oh, crazy. Okay, maybe let's start at the top. Let's start at the top here. Let's exit out. I'm going to go into settings, and we'll talk about settings here. So your network relay setting, please change it to auto. Some folks who are on previous playtests may have had it set to forced because we frequently test with that first, but change it to auto. And then on detailed logging, if you've never enabled it before, it'll be at disabled. Please set it to enabled. This will generate some massive, massive logs that I will ask you to send me via Discord after the match so that I can look at them. And you will probably be interested to see how they come out too, depending on what we find, because the tool that I use to look at those logs is what we're going to be working on today, and it's pretty cool. So make those 2 setting changes. I will get a new match ID since we did kill that match. And I will paste it in the chat. Aircy, if you had network relay disabled, that could certainly explain why we weren't able to get connected. If someone needs to go through the network relay due to like just how their NAT firewall relates to our NAT firewalls or the routes between us, if they needed the relay and you had it set to disabled, then yeah, that could have certainly messed things up. One of the things about peer-to-peer games is these sort of issues are actually really tricky to debug, because it'll be like, I can get connected to everyone, it's fine, and then one person won't be able to get connected to just like one other person, and it's something specific to do with the network paths between just those 2 people. But I do like peer-to-peer games because the cost of running them is extremely low. Client-server games actually give the developer a lot more tools to make sure that the player has a good experience. But peer-to-peer games cost next to nothing to run, even if you have a lot of players. All right, let's do a team match. It looks like me and Aircy versus Ricardo and Bimdav. I don't know if that's a fair matchup, because I don't remember everyone's relative skill in the game, but we'll see. Let's see how this goes. Let's do the desert. I like the desert. The desert has a lot of power-ups. All right. Oh, jeez. I'm getting cornered. I am playing really bad right now. I feel like I'm distracted by the artwork, although I would come up with any excuse. I'm staying away from you guys. I'm going for power-ups here. Whoops, sorry. Ooh, Bimdav is hanging on to his health? Jeez. Oh, I don't know why I took tracers. I should have stuck with what I had. Okay, who's still alive here? Okay, spread. I'm back to spread. Oh, but he has spread too. It's gonna be tricky. I lost so much health in the beginning when I was just playing poorly. I don't know if I'm gonna pull out of this. Ooh! Blue team. Well played, but I hate you, but well played. Okay. I gotta do a little cat and mouse in the beginning. Little cat and mouse in the beginning. Oh, jeez. Let me turn on the network overlay, actually, because this is playing beautifully, guys. I am, like, seeing no network artifacts. Oh, no, not the railgun. Oh, jeez. Okay, bye-bye network overlay. The networking is just looking fantastic, even considering that we have relatively high pings. Sneak attack by the invisible tank. I don't know if you guys noticed, but in this art style, this new art style that Ross made, the tank treads actually move. Whereas in the classic art, the Kenny and L art, we're basically driving hover tanks. They just sort of glide with no change. Okay, let's do some sort of like pincer move. Ooh, they're trapped in the corner. Ooh, but where'd you go, Aircy? Ooh, is that Aircy with the power up? With the railgun, I mean? Ha! Red team does it again. Perhaps me and Aircy shouldn't have been on a team together here. Well. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's try and pin him. Let's try and. So in team mode, getting on both sides of an opponent player, like they're doing to me right now, is a pretty good move. We could have just finished that almost there. It might have gotten finished off screen. Okay, I see ARC. Oh, and BimDav. I don't know how you hang on to your health. Ah, go the other way, David. Go the other way. Sorry, I should have backed you up there, ARC. I was pointed a different direction than I thought I was. Okay, where are you? Getting power-ups while I can. Out of here. I'm gonna surprise you. Okay. Oop, what's this? Health. I need it. I need it. Alright, it's just you and me, BimDav. You're going down. Ha ha! I shouldn't celebrate that much, not for my own game. It's just cruel. It's just cruel. Developer plays his own game, and I'll try to tone it down, guys. I'll try to tone it down. I saw someone else joined. It's hard for me to focus on playing and who's joining too, but welcome to the stream. Oh, oh, oh! There was a little bit of artifacts on Tanksalot's movement there, but like totally negligible. Like, I'm sure if I wasn't as intimately... Ooh, wow, you owned that, ARC. I did nothing. That was your round. Wow. Yeah, I'm sure if I wasn't so intimately familiar with how the networking works in this game, I probably wouldn't even notice them. I can tell by the way you move, Ricardo, that you have the modern control scheme on. I've always felt that playing with the retro control scheme was a slight competitive advantage, but I don't actually know, and I am totally biased because I think the retro control scheme should be the only control scheme. It's only by popular complaint in the Steam reviews that I added the modern control scheme. Oh no! Haha! One down. It's gonna be tricky with that spread you got going, though. Ooh! Yeah, I shouldn't be pursuing you when you have the spread. The strategy when someone has spread is to flee, because you get better range when you're fleeing. So I should just drive around and wait till he follows me. Ooh, I should have kept the zap. Zap is also better in defending against boost, or defending against railgun. Oh come on! I just have to hit once. Yeah. We won the whole match! Well played. So who's here? Aaron Winter. Hey! How's it going? Andy K. Hey, Andy K. Definitely long time no see. I've had a great holidays. I hope you did as well. Aaron Winter. Visuals could be improved by some dust trails. Yeah. Tanks are heavy as heck and certainly certain to stir up some dust. For sure. Congrats on releasing this awesome physics netcode for Godot. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, we didn't manage to crash the game. That's interesting. Yeah, good game for sure. You guys, oh man. I mean, I guess in the end we won, but you guys were playing real good. That was close. That was close. I don't think we need to do another round. I mean, I'd love to. I love playing the game, but in the interest of having the stream focus on game development rather than game playing, let's change gears here. Although, please, folks, send me your logs. I will tell you where to find them. I have a document somewhere. Of course, I'm going to show all of my Google Docs right now. That's probably not a good idea. It's like RTP something log locations. All right, so depending on your OS, the logs will be in a different spot on Windows. Like if you put the path to your user directory and then add this junk to it. Linux, this is the path. Mac OS is the path. The log file, there should only be one because we only played one match. Or if you've played before, it'd be at the end. And just like send me those in Discord. They'll be rather large, but if you zip them up, they'll be good. I'm actually just going to copy and paste this whole... it looks terrible copy and pasted. Let me copy and paste it in Discord. I was trying to copy and paste it into the Restream chat thing. Okay, this is sort of better. Let me reformat it so that this is readable, and I'll put it in the chat, and then you guys can copy and paste also. See how that looks. Oh, that looks terrible. Whatever. I'm sure you can figure it out. My viewers are very intelligent people. All right. So what we are working on today. It is actually directly related to the logs. If you guys remember from last stream, I was trying to debug like a single crash. It was a state mismatch, and I was just looking through the log data and trying to figure it out and couldn't manage to figure it out. And I basically said to myself, like, man, if I could step through this match tick by tick and debug it with the Godot debugger, like the line debugger, that would be amazing. Then I could find this problem. And so I decided to actually implement that, or part of that. We need to finish it, and that's what we're going to be working on today. Let me show you what I've got so far. I got to launch Godot. Oh, thank you, RC. I see the logs there. I'll download them once everybody's appear. I'll just load up some logs from a test match or something to show you guys this tool, which I've shown before. We actually started building it on stream, but we got not terribly far. And of course, last stream we spent all stream staring at it. So this is my my add-on. Actually, I'll launch it in the editor here. So this is my Godot Rollback Netcode add-on, which comes with this log inspector tool, and we can load up a bunch of logs. I'll look for some that look like they are probably good. Oof, these are big ones too. We'll load up these logs in the tool, and I'll show you how this works and what I have so far of the replay feature. Oh, I see BIMDAV's logs, and there we go, Ricardo's. Awesome. Thanks, guys. I will grab them in a moment. All right, so this is just some test logs from probably a match that I played with myself. And here you can see like all of the frames, and the arrows show on which frames the input was generated and what frame the data was actually received on the other peer. And over here we can see the state that was saved through the match, and you can kind of step through it. The display isn't great. I'm planning on improving that at some point. But this new feature, this replay thing, I will launch, click this launch replay client here, and hopefully this will work. If not, I guess we'll start the stream by fixing it. All right. So this loaded the match at this tick in it. And if I advance it, you can actually see tick by tick how this particular match played out just by running through the data in the logs. And this mostly already works. I have some things in my to-do to add to the state-based playback. But this is mostly done, mostly working. The really killer feature that I want to be able to add is frame-based playback. So here, this is like the finalized state. So the way like Rollback Netcode works is you run a tick, you save the state, you go on to the next tick. That state that you saved originally probably has some missing input in it. Like you're waiting to get all the input from all of the other clients, and when you get the input, you roll back to that frame, inject the new actual real input, and then play it again. And at some point, you will have saved the final state, the state that included all of the input from all of the players, and that is actually what gets saved in the log. Which is cool. Like I can see the match. This is helpful in debugging insofar as, like, rather than just sort of having to look at the numbers and guess what is happening, I can actually see it. But it doesn't allow me to play back what happened in the client so that I can debug the problem on a code level, right? For that, we need frame-based playback, which I will basically say, like, okay, at frame, I don't know, this would be like frame 29 over here. I'm just guessing because, like, it's tick 14 and there's, you know, double the frames. Play the whole match from the beginning up to frame 29 or up to frame 28, then pause, let me go in the debugger and set some breakpoints, and then play through frame 29 again, and I'll be able to actually see what happened, because this will include not just the final state, but like the state as it actually existed in that frame, right? Which might include some predicted input. It may have included like rolling back a couple of times. Like on this graph, I can already see there were some rollbacks over here. And that can have an effect on how the game logic plays out and can be the source of bugs. So, we're going to build some of this stuff. That's what we're going to do. Let me get my to-do opened up here. Yeah, so I have this thing in the playback where it like lets us pick which peer we are actually watching. It doesn't even show all the right peers. It just says peer 1. So that we can look at if there's discrepancies between the peers, the data according to a particular peer. Oh yeah, right now it doesn't give the actual player names. A way to stop and start the server. I think this is actually, this to do, even though it sounds like really lame, I think we're going to have to do first. Because this is loading as an add-on into the editor. And, oh, I should explain how the playback even works. None of this will make sense until I tell you how it works. But basically, we're having this conflict between the log inspector as it loads into the editor and the way that we're going to want to run it while we're working on it, which is basically running it as a scene because that makes it easier for us to debug. Let me see what's going on in chat, and then I'm going to explain how the replay works, and then we're going to start doing stuff with it. Logan question mark says, I do so badly wished you streamed not during my work hours. I'm sorry, Logan. Slacks, hello, how's it going? And Nyanel got in here at some point, and I didn't see his message. What's up, Nyanel? Did you put a message? You had to have to be on the overlay. I don't see your message. Oh, there you are. Hey, what up? That is Nyanel's message. Awesome. Thanks everyone for coming. We got a good group going. Yeah, lots of Godot streamers are streaming. There's someone else who usually streams at the same time that I'm streaming, so it's kind of a conflict. This is the easiest time for me, given that I have kids, and it's either like I block some time out of my workday to not work but go stream, or I do this in the middle of the night, and I am not a night person. I am a morning person. So it'd be much easier for me to like do this at like 4 a.m. having woken up at 4 a.m. in the morning than to do it like you know, at 10 p.m. or whatever. But yeah, I'm sorry about the time. I'll try and find some way to do some other times. Yeah, Jotson. I don't know Mr. Elliptic. I'm not subscribed to Mr. Elliptic. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, so let me explain to you how the replay. Oh my god, I'm gonna do this 100 times on the stream. I've been doing so many things with network relay that I keep accidentally saying relay instead of replay when I'm working on the replay. Anyway, so here's how the replay works. We have the I should have done a box tool or whatever. So we have the Godot Editor. Why is this being so weird right now? Okay, cool. It's not being weird. And that's a horrible box. But here we have the Godot Editor, which is running our log inspector tool. And what it does is it starts a little TCP server listening on some random port. I can't remember what it is. And when it that's what is happening when you look here. It says replay, listening for connections. So this is this little TCP server listening on some port for connections. And when you click launch replay client, what it actually is doing is launching an instance of the game with a special argument that tells it to not play the normal game, but start a replay client that then connects to this TCP connection. So in drawn format, this is Godot. And then it starts a little instance of your game, which is another G. Unfortunately, we have two G things. Game, which connects back to this TCP connection, and then that allows the log inspector tool to send commands to the game, saying, you know, load this state, set up a match with these parameters, that sort of thing. And the way that a user of the add-on would make their game ready to do this is actually really simple. There is a special singleton that takes care of as much as it can. So if you wanted your game to use this, you'd add the sync replay singleton. And if we go look at the code for that, actually maybe the code for this isn't the best place to look. It's not very interesting. It just watches for some command line arguments. Maybe the place to look actually is in the project settings. So another thing that I did in leading up to the release of the add-on is I moved a whole bunch of the settings for the game into project settings, which is just a way better way to do it. Where the heck? Network rollback. Here we go. So it adds this rollback section to the project settings. Previously, you had to like create your own singleton that would like set these settings in code. But this is just so much more convenient. And there is some log inspector settings down here. And basically, you're telling the sync relay singleton what scene should I load to do the replay, what method should I call on that scene after having loaded it to tell it to get ready for replay. And then this replay argument is the argument that it adds to the command line to trigger all of this stuff to happen. You could change it to whatever you want. Like if your game already took some special arguments and you wanted this to fit in with those, you could change this to be like -- replay or whatever. Since we're controlling both sides, since we're controlling the log inspector tool and what's happening in the sync relay singleton, they both look at the same setting and can use anything. And then this, I guess, is the default port that I picked. And then all I had to do in my game was add this method to this scene. And the match scene in my game is the scene that's basically responsible for running a complete match, right? There's a whole bunch of other scenes that do like UI setup or UI and setup for the game. So where actually is the method that it calls? So yeah, it calls setup match for replay, gives it which peer ID it's supposed to be, a list of the other peer IDs in the match, some match info. It does a little bit of setup here that it has to do because I'm using another one of my add-ons, the Nakama WebRTC add-on, and it has to kind of fake that it made some connections with some players. But then it basically just does normal stuff. Like this scene setup method is a method that previously existed that would be called at the beginning of a match, giving like the startup info for the match, and then scene start, also a method that previously existed that just like started the match. So I think this will be pretty convenient for other developers who want to use this same stuff in their own game and help debug their own issues. So yeah, let me know. Let me know if anybody has any questions about what I've gone through. What I have just gone through. I like skip words when I'm nervous. Does anyone else do that? And I'm nervous on stream. I'm sorry about that. It's just unfixable. Maybe on the 100th stream I'll stop being nervous. So Slacks was saying Mr. Liptic and Lentius are running a Godot add-on jam. Yeah, I put it on my calendar. That isn't happening now, is it? I want to participate in that. Not working on this add-on. This add-on's way too complicated. But I want to. There is an add-on that I want to make to help make working on Webxr apps more convenient. And that's what I'm planning to work on when this happens. Whew, I have 12 days. I didn't miss it. Awesome. Yeah, you have joined this jam, so I'm planning to participate. But there's an idea I have for an add-on to make developing Webxr games more convenient, and that's what I want to work on. Should be really simple, actually. But yeah. That'll be cool. Sometimes I tend to forget words to describe stuff. So awkward. Yeah, you know what's funny too is sometimes I'll just be like reaching in my mind for a word for so long and just can't find it. And I'll think of the word in other languages. Like I'll be like, oh, this is it in Polish. This is it in Russian. This is it in Spanish. But I just can't think of the word in English. And that's so stupid because like English is my native language. I shouldn't have that problem. But yeah. Moving on, let's get started on this. So the first thing that I want to work on is this add a way to completely stop the server and only start it the first time the window is shown. And the reason that's important to work on is because when the add-on loads in the editor, as it does here, it is already taking this port, which means that we cannot go to launch it the other way. Where the heck is this? Where the heck is it? We can't go to launch the log inspector as a scene and have it still work, because I'll show you what happens if we do that. Come on. There we go. It says replay disabled because it can't get the same port. So we're going to add a little bit of UI to just let us disable that. And actually, I think the UI in general here could be made a little better, so we'll fiddle around with that. Oh, this is weird. Oh, okay, no, never mind. I was like, is it actually trying to start? Because this is like a tool script. It could conceivably like try to start even when we're just debugging it, but I don't think it is. Gavary paruski? I think you mean Gavarish paruski. But yeah, I studied Russian for quite a while, like 4 years, and I spent some time in Russia. I was in well, not so I was in Minsk, and then I was in Russia in Kazan for 2 weeks each, so about a month in Russian-speaking countries, and I visited Ukraine once for only a couple of days. But yeah, so I speak bad Russian, very bad Russian. Nianel asks, what is Webxr? So that is what allows, what can allow you to make a HTML5 app that provides a VR or AR experience. We worked on Webxr on a previous stream, trying to improve Godot's AR support in Webxr. And actually, I think maybe next week I'll do another Webxr related stream, continuing to work on that same AR issue. But I'm not entirely sure. I'll let you know. All right. To work, my friends. To work. So to start, we need to just fiddle around with this UI, and I think this is right in the log inspector scene. Yeah, on the replay toolbar here. So I drew a little picture for myself, and I won't try to show you guys because holding up my notebook to this screen is not an ideal way to show anything. For how I think I want this UI to work. So I think we're going to have like a server section and a client section, and to facilitate this, we'll make the window a little bigger. Oops, I resized the wrong thing, not the margin box. This. Or maybe, can we make this full rect? Will that do something sane? Do we want it full rect? No, we don't. We'll just make it a little bigger. We'll just make it a little bigger. All right, so this, I guess I still want to say replay, or maybe even replay colon, and then we're going to add like a kind of little panel for the server functions, and then another little panel for the client functions. And so what will that be? I guess panel container? I think panel container. We'll try. If that doesn't seem right, we'll change it. And this will be like server container, and I think we need to put another VBox in there, or HBox, I'm sorry. HBox container, and then we'll start dropping some of these controls in there. It's got a kind of raised up look there. I don't know if we want that. That might not be the right appearance that we want here. Makes it look like a button. Can we make it a new style box flat, something like that? I don't know. Should I fiddle around with the visual appearance this early in the game? Probably not. What I would like is just something that just sort of put like a border around it. We can make the background color. Well, no, I don't want to mess with the appearance too much because I want it to use the editor styles. So let me kill this. How does this look when it's loaded in the editor? We'll have to probably restart the editor to really see it. Or here, maybe we can get away with disabling the add-on and re-enabling the add-on. Or no, why am I launching it? The scene, I want to look at it in the editor. Yeah, you're crashing. Nothing's updated for this. Okay, that didn't work. Let's reload the current project. This is why working on add-ons while they're in the editor is such a pain, because you have to do funky stuff to get your code to reload with your new changes. All right. So I don't see anything? There's no visual for a container, a panel container at all? I'm just going to throw like a label in here to make sure that we're actually seeing our live changes. Let's do the enable disable your plugin trick and see what that looks like. Okay. So even though when we run it as a scene, it'll put this stupid raised bevel on it, it won't look like anything in the editor. Cool. Let's roll with that. And we need to get some stuff in here. So, I shouldn't have deleted that label. We actually need a label right here saying server. And we're going to add some new buttons to do our new server functions, which we want to be able to start and stop the server itself. So we need a button and another button. And this will be start server button. And this will be stop server button. Start. Stop. And the disconnect button, we're going to put in this section too. That disconnects the game that's connected from the server's end. And let's take a look at how this appears. Oops. Can't click in the right place. All right. There we go. So we'll have the server, a little message about what the server is doing. I think I want this replay status to be a fixed like width, so it doesn't jump around as the text in it changes. So how do we do that? I thought there was some setting I could change that would make it not resize to the current text, but I'm not seeing it right now. Okay, well, let's set a min size. Maybe, I don't know, 100? Oh, that's too much, too little. So I think the longest thing that it ever says is waiting for connection. And that puts us at how wide? 156? So we'll set the min size to say like 175. That seems good. And I'll just put some junk in there. I like to have the text in the scene be different than a thing that I actually print out so that I know did it change? Did anything actually happen? Okay, so this is how I want the server section to look, more or less. Ooh, I'm missing some chats here. So basically, AR/VR development using HTML. Yes, that is what Webxr is. And Ricardo says clip text setting, maybe. Although I thought that was like if text goes off the screen. Oh yeah, maybe that is exactly it. Maybe that is exactly it. If true, the label only shows the text that fits within its bounding rectangle and will clip horizontally. Yeah, I think you're right. Clip text. Sweet. Thank you. Thank you, Ricardo. Okay. So now we've got the server container here, this HBox container. Yeah, that's fine. Naming things, one of the hardest things in software development. All right, we need another panel container to be the client stuff, client container. And we are going to put what in there? I guess launch game. Did I have anything else on my list? Oh, so I guess the show peer stuff I also envisioned being in there. So let's add a label to put client. We will throw the launch game button in there. and this show peer stuff. And let's see if that looks sane. It does not. What is going on here? Well, let's get rid of these separators. Oh, and then in here I need to have the hbox, because I think a panel container can only contain a single control. So we need to make that single control be an hbox. Awesome. That looks more or less what I was thinking, although a little bit scrunched. And we can change the text on this launch replay client to just be launch, since it's pretty clear that it's client launch. Let's maybe put a separator control between these two. When I'm doing containers, I like to sometimes make little dummy controls that I can set size flags on, or like rect sizes or whatever. So let's put maybe like 25 pixels. Why didn't that work? Why didn't that scooch that over? Do I have to do it on min size? There we go. Okay, I had to do it on min size. All right, so how does that look? Doesn't look totally insane. Maybe put another separator between the initial label, something like that. So this is the replay section. Here's the server section. You can start, stop, or disconnect. Here's the client section. You can launch the client. You can show the peer. We probably want a little bit separator between client launch and show peer. So let me duplicate another one of these little separator guys. Looks pretty nice. Looks pretty nice. Now let's make it work. So we probably broke everything by changing the hierarchy. We'll go in here and see what we need to change to fix it. So this is replay status label. Try to abuse the autocomplete to find it for me. Replay status label. There we go. And that's maybe the only thing. That's the only thing that dug into the replay. So we're not really going to be able to test this until we do the other part of this change, which is to make it not start automatically. So I think this setup log inspector is what is starting it. And I have it happening when we open it as its own independent scene, which is what this bit of code does. And I have it being called by the plugin script, the plugin GD, which basically registers all of our stuff with Godot when the plugin loads. And we need to not do that here. We need to instead have it happen when the log inspector pop-up is shown, which I think we get, about to show. We get a nice signal for that. I'm actually going to put this up at the top because it's related to startup. I kind of like having my code files work pseudo-sequentially. Makes it easier for me to find stuff later. Oops, no, not this. I want to call that method. I was about to copy and paste it. Setup log inspector. And now we're going to have to reload Godot because that's the only way to kill the server, which is the reason we're... Oop, what am I doing? It's just hard for me to talk and think at the same time. Okay, project, reload current project. There we go. So the reason we're making this change is because it's only possible to kill the relay server by restarting Godot. So hopefully this will be the last time that we have to do that. And when we come into here, if we go to log inspector, it still says listening for connections. Oh, because I popped it open. Okay, so I guess that's a sign that that's working. And it's not going to be the last time we're going to have to restart Godot because I just started it and now it's taken up that port. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make that button do something. All right, here we go. Let's make this stop button do something. And I will want to put that somewhere towards the top-ish. I want it to be by the replay stuff. Yeah. So these are some signals that happen in response to the client connecting. So I'll kind of put these above stop server. So this will be replay server. I think that method is just stop listening. We may have to stop more than that. We may have to do a bunch of stop calls here. Let me see the replay server class. Do I not have it open? Replay server, there we go. See how this works. So if I call stop listening, it will stop the server, and is that enough? Do I have to disconnect from the game first? Okay, what I should do is disconnect from the game and pass restart listening false. That's how I should really do that. Let's go back to our log inspector code here. So this will be disconnect from game, false. And we also need to cover the condition where we have never actually started being connected to a game. So we'll need to do like some is connected to game. We'll do this. And if not, oops. And if it not, then we just stop listening. Okay, so that's what our stop button should do. While we're at it, let's implement our start button as well. Put this right above our stop server button. And I think I have enough guards in replay server that it will do nothing if we try to call it when it's like already listening. But what I do want to have happen so that this is more user-friendly is to have these buttons get enabled and disabled depending on the state of things. That should be easy enough to implement, but I kind of want to just make sure the basic functionality works first. So let's reload the current project. See what's going on in chat while I'm waiting here. Oh, nothing new. Hopefully that means you're so intrigued by what's going on stream you don't have anything to say. Or perhaps you guys know how distractible I am and you're giving me a moment to think. And hopefully it does not mean that everyone's gone away. All right, so let's go to tools, log inspector. It still says listening for connections. Oh, because on pop-up it does that. So then I hit stop and nothing happened. What the heck? All right, well, it's difficult to debug add-ons when you're running them in the editor. So I guess I'm going to restart Godot again. I'm going to purposefully not run it in the editor. I'm going to launch it as a scene, and then that will give us the ability to do some easier debugging. So let's run this scene. This should actually work. Listening for connections, sweet. It's also interesting too, like this is wide enough for this font, but in the editor actually it cuts off our ellipses. So I think I'll need to make that be bigger. So okay, we go stop. Nothing. What do we get in the debugger? Any useful errors? Node not found. That's interesting. Mode button. What button is the mode button? Is that the one at the top that switches like what we're viewing? Oh, it's so annoying how this gets hidden every time I open it. So is this the mode button? Yeah, so it can't find it. So that should be under margin box, VBox, load, toolbar, mode button. Let's go see what's going on here. Oh, it's missing, I think one of those renamed. I think that HBox container renamed. Mode button. There we go. Still didn't help us solve the problem. Let me go down to the method here, stop server button pressed. We should have gotten some signals for start listening. Oh, maybe we just need to subscribe to more signals. Get rid of this notification that appeared on my computer here. So how are we subscribing to these? Okay, so we actually have a node here. Cool. So stopped listening. We need to implement this signal. And I'll put this right under the started listening. And all we got to do here is call update replay server status. All right, try again. Stop. Sweet. Disabled. Start. Listening for connections. Stopped. All right. Cool. So I think the next thing I want to check is just to make sure everything's working again. Ooh, that gets real tiny. I'm going to try the launch button here. Make sure that that goes. And it's not working. Interesting. Oh, because I have no logs. I have no logs. It can't work. There should probably be an error for that. Oh, and I was going to download your guys' logs and open them on stream. I completely forgot to do that. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. So we have some interesting logs to look at, I guess, in replay. It would actually be really cool to be able to jump around to the different peers. Maybe that's when we'll come back to look at it, because I want to get this working. Then I want to actually have the ability to switch peers, which is on my to-do. Oh, no, here we go. Yep, this is the thing on my to-do. So cool, and we launch. And still works. Okay. So before we move on from this, I just want to very quickly make these buttons enable and disable depending on the state of the replay server, which should be really easy. This is just basic user interface programming stuff. That means we'll need to get variables that contain all of the buttons. We'll add some onReady vars. Actually, I think I like them after. So what are some of these things called? The start server button. Another idea for an add-on that I always thought would be cool would be an add-on that wrote these type of onReady statements. So I could just sort of click, select these buttons, and then get something from the context menu, like create onReady variables, and that it would just come in here and inject these, because I'm always writing these onReady variables, and I know a lot of people do. GDQuest does, and a lot of people follow GDQuest's example. I think that would save a lot of people a lot of time. So if anyone else is looking for an idea for the Godot add-on jam that's coming up on January 20th, there's a possible idea. If no one else does it, I'll do it eventually. Although I actually haven't even checked if someone has already done it, because that's also a possibility. And our disconnect button. Is the mode button node path from autocomplete earlier correct? I actually don't know. I didn't really look at it. Nope, it is not. Thanks for catching that, Ricardo. You're a really great pair programmer. You catch so many bugs that I make here. Okay, mode button. There we go. It was totally wrong. So thank you. All right. What else do we have? We have the launch game button. And I think I probably also want the show peer field. Field's a funny name for that, but I think I also want this to be able to be grayed out for when we can't actually use it. Okay, and we need to set some logical initial state. Although that might become difficult to maintain. Maybe we should just have this update replay server status method. It updates this status label, but we could also have it update what is enabled and disabled. So if nothing is running, then we need to disable which buttons? We need to disable the stop server, disconnect, and launch game and show peer buttons. All of those. So, is it disabled? Disabled equals true. Stop server button disabled equals true. Disconnect button disabled equals true. Start server we need to be not disabled. And launch game button disabled equals true, and show peer field disabled is true. And if we are listening, then we need which mix of things enabled? We need stop, and actually let's just copy and paste this whole mess of things every time. If we see a pattern in what needs to be enabled and disabled, we might be able to refactor this code to be smaller, but let's just start with the wasteful code and see what it looks like. So start server now needs to be disabled. Stop server should not be disabled. Get my fingers in the right place here. Disconnect should still be disabled. Launch game should not be disabled. And show peer should still be disabled. All right. And if we are connected, then we want a different mix of things. Start server should be disabled. Stop server, that can be shown. Disconnect can be shown. Or not shown, can be enabled. Launch game should be false. Or no, true disabled. Having to think in double negatives here. And this should not be disabled. Okay, and I just want to make sure that the update replay server status is something that we call always in the beginning. It is not. Okay, so... Or no, it is indirectly. So when we launch as a scene, we call, sorry for the yawn, setup log inspector, and when we show the pop-up we do, and that always leads to a start listening, which will indirectly lead to one of these callbacks. Okay, so maybe what we want to do is we want to update it just before starting listening, on the chance that it tries to start and we never get any of those signals emitted. So update replay server status. Okay, so let's test this out. So we launch it. And it starts listening for connections. All of these are disabled. That seems good. Let's launch the client, which won't really work because it has no logs, but it switched this to connected to game, and now we have stop and disconnect, and launch no longer works. But this one does. I wasn't paying attention to that one. We might have to look again on that. If I click disconnect, we go back to the state we were. Oh, and good. This one is disabled, and we click stop, and everything is disabled except for start. Perfect. Perfect. So I think this is ready to commit, and then we can move on to doing some more interesting things. So let me remove this from the to-do. And let's take a look at our git status and our git diff, make sure we're not adding anything we don't mean to. I see some things I'm adding that I don't mean to already. So there were some changes I was doing here related to the documentation stuff I was working on last night. And so these two changes we actually don't want to happen because they are left over from before the stream. So I'm just going to eliminate those, git status, git diff again, give this one more look over. Yeah. Some of these scene changes probably are unnecessary, like they're superfluous, but it's fine. They don't hurt anything either. I don't think I'm going to have any other code that's messing with this other than this branch. The reason I might try to avoid them is if I had two branches that were both doing things to that scene, it would lead to just merge conflicts for no reason. But I'm going to leave it. So we're going to commit this, and this will be clarified replay server UI in log inspector, and added a way to start the server manually. That sounds good. Push that up. All right, so the next thing I wanted to look at was this, let us pick which peer we're currently acting as. And for that, we'll need to actually fill in this peer dropdown with the set of real peers, because we currently aren't doing that. Ooh, Ricardo's typing something. I bet it's going to be something awesome, something that makes my code better. Not to add any more pressure to you, Ricardo. All right, so the show peer field, we need to fill that with the peers when we get them, which I think happens when? Refresh from log data. Yeah, so somewhere in here we could actually clear out that show peer field. And I always forget the methods here. I'm going to go look at another place where I'm doing a similar thing, which is in the settings dialog for the frame viewer. I could always, of course, look at the actual Godot docs, but I'm going to jump around my own code. Rebuild peer options, this code. It is clearing, and then it is doing add item, so this code. This code is what I want. Jump all the way back to the log inspector. And we will just do some replacements here. Show peer field rather than option button. Otherwise, though, I think this code might actually just be correct. Wait for that highlighted line to go away. Oh, Ricardo ended up not saying anything. I hope I didn't psych you out. I hope I didn't psych you out by saying what you were going to write was awesome. Okay, so this will give us the actual options. And then we need to have something happen when we change this. So we'll say item selected. And yeah, this is a good spot for this. Oh, here we go. Ricardo says, if you watch my replay on stream, I'll be exposed as not a PC gamer. Ah! I'm not entirely sure how that will expose it, to be honest. Because I assume you're playing on Mac or something? I don't know that we'll be able to tell by watching your replay. Your secret might have been safe. I think you might have given it up on your own here. Okay, so this gives us an index? That's not as useful as I was hoping. Hang on. I know we can set the value. Get item index. Okay, let me look in here and see. Ah, no, that's not what I wanted. Look at this code. So item selected. Update network arrows. Oh, okay, fine. Oh, we can just like say what is your ID? We don't have to deal with the index thing. Okay. So we can say show peer field get selected ID filed. There is no show peer filed. And this will be, I guess, peer ID. And then what do we do with it? Well, we need to tell the replay server to tell the replay client to start over and use this particular peer ID as its peer ID. And I don't think that code exists. I'm also unsure what this means for us as far as sending the peer ID originally. Okay, here we go. So my peer ID, so rather than just picking the first one, we need to switch to grabbing it from the show peer ID field. Get selected ID, or yeah, show peer field. Oh, and then this is wrong too, because this needs to send the peer IDs without my peer ID, so we'll need to construct that a different way. Before we were just sort of slicing the array and removing the first element, but we need to do it differently for peer ID in log data peer IDs, and we'll say if peer ID does not equal my peer ID, then we add it to the list of peer IDs. All right. Send match info for replay. So when do we normally call that? We normally call this method send match info for replay. Okay, so as soon as they connect is when we usually send it. And we want to send it here to send match info for replay. This also will create a conundrum if we are already on a particular like state frame and we just want to like hop from one peer to another peer. Just sending this data will return us to state frame 0, and we will need to allow our state input viewer to somehow be informed that we've reset things and tell it to resend its data as well. But we will deal with that after we find out if this works or not. So actually, we don't even need to grab this. We can let that be, and then calling the send match info for replay should kick things into gear here. Oh, Ricardo says, I just mean I wasn't very good at the game. No worries, man. You know, it's funny, like, I love video games. Like, video games are just such a huge part of my life, but I am terrible at them. I still love them. I still have a lot of fun, but I'm bad. I'm just bad. I'm objectively not good. And even for my own games, like against you guys, like it's probably unfair because this is my game and like I know it pretty well at this point. But there definitely are people who are better at Retro Tank Party than I am and just destroy me, just totally destroy me. Kyle Shipstar, who hasn't been around in a while, I've been meaning to check in with him just to make sure he's okay. But he is so good at the game, he just always destroys me. This Arturo, a former colleague, a former work colleague, he used to play a lot and was way better than me, but nothing to be ashamed of, my friend. All right, so let's test that this works in some way. In fact, let's test it with the logs that I have yet to download from you guys. I'm wondering why this has a star by it. I guess I'll see in Git. Why do you have a star? What did I change there? Nothing. Okay. Let me disrupt the overlay for a moment so I can grab the logs you guys sent. We'll get them opened up. They're going to be huge. They're going to take a little while to load. So over here, clicking download. All right, I think I should be able to re-enable the overlay. And now I can switch back to some stuff you guys can see. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to extract them in the location that Godot put my logs, because it's just easy. So into my detailed logs directory, and I will need to look at what your guys' zip files are called. So, AirC 2022. AirC 2022. There we go. Unzip. Bimdav gave the hash in there. There we go. And Ricardo did tanks a lot. Tanks a lot. Okay, so I have all the data in, and let's load it up. So the way the logs are named, I planned out as making them easy to group when you're looking in this dialog here. So you can kind of see like these 4 logs go together just visually. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but that is how I did it. And then this will take a while to load. It uses a another thread to load the data, and then update the progress dialog progressively. While we are waiting, what should we do? Anyone playing any cool games lately? What am I playing lately? I just played through Forgotten City over the holidays. That is a super great game, by the way. If you have Game Pass, you should check it out. If you like, you know, like the talking parts in Skyrim, but like really well done. It's like this Groundhog Day kind of time loop thing, but you're in ancient Rome and you're trying to save a city that's going to be destroyed. It's really cool. I just downloaded Outer Wilds yesterday, I think, because it came back to Game Pass. I haven't played it yet. Also a time loop game. I'm looking forward to playing that one some. I've been playing VR, but what have I been playing? Most recently, I was just playing Beat Saber. I don't know. I bought a lot of VR games around the holidays, and I really need to get back into them. Me and my daughter were playing Myst for a while, which was super fun. Just sort of switching off who was playing and who was on the outside taking notes. I have a serious complaint about the VR implementation of Myst in that they didn't give me a notepad. Like, you find all of these things like numbers and dates, and there's this part where you have to like draw constellations and then see what the shape is. And then, I mean, you don't have to, right? But you need to memorize somehow a constellation and then go to a completely different part of the game world and match up the constellation with some shapes. And it's not just one constellation. You have to memorize 4 different constellations. And so the way that I think they're expecting people to do this, since that was like a 1991 game, is to have a notepad at your computer and write it down. How are you supposed to do that in VR? They should have given me a VR notepad that I could write. But our solution was my daughter, who wasn't in VR, was watching on either my phone or my Chromebook or something, and so she drew the picture of the constellations, and then had to be the one to match them up because I couldn't see the picture she drew. But it was awesome. She got them totally right. AirC has been in a board game mood recently. Yeah, you know, the holidays are kind of like a board game kind of time. You're like together with family and stuff. So like, I don't know, I played a bunch of board games on the holiday. Definitely could see how that be in one's mind. Comparing the design ideas of those with the ones of video games is really interesting. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Whoa, okay. Looking at this data a little bit, someone has a very different clock than the rest of us. Yeah, we're all relatively synchronized except for Peer 3. Oh, and wow, look at Peer 4. Like, this is super interesting, the way Peer 4's data looks. Peer 4 must have like an insanely high refresh monitor, or like somehow managed to disable VSync without the game configuration disabling VSync, because Peer 4 is generating like all these interpolation frames. Interesting. Well, so the data not being aligned, there's a solution to that, which I'll monkey around with while checking out the next bunch of comments. Andy K was playing Rec Room and Beat Saber on Quest 2 with kids. Yeah, those are definitely some fun experiences. I haven't found like the right place in Rec Room for me. So like every time I go there, I play for a little while and be like, oh, I don't know, I just haven't found the right room, I guess. Oh, I always forget how positive and negative works with this. So if I move, maybe I'll mess around with Pier 4 first so I can see how it moves. If I move it negative, which way does it go? It goes that way. So I'm going to move it positive, maybe 500 milliseconds. Yep, that is lined up more. We'll maybe go 600. Even better, 700. Sweet. Now let's move Pier 3. That's like, I don't know, 5 seconds. I'm going to start with 5,000. Not bad. Maybe too far. Ah, I lost my window. Where'd you go? I need to just scroll this. Oh, even more than that. Maybe 6,000. Closer. 7,000. Still not enough. 8,000. What the heck? It seems like it's almost like it's not moving anymore. Here we go. 9,000 milliseconds. There's still some arrows moving backward in time, which is of course not possible, so we can just sort of tweak it forward like this. All right, we now have us relatively synchronized. I'm going to write these down in case we close this log file and need to open it up again. So it was Pier 4 is 700, and Pier 3 is 9,046. Ricardo, didn't play much lately, but maybe my Godot bug fix PR will be merged soon. What is your PR? I want to see your PR. Let me, Thanks, Ricardo. I love it, man. Like, so much of trying to debug problems is first trying to understand them. Like, it'll sometimes take me 4 hours to understand a problem, and then once I understand it, I'll fix it in 5 minutes, right? And like, trying to understand what the heck is going on in something as complex as a peer-to-peer multiplayer game, like being able to see it is amazing. Anyway, I'm going to pull up Ricardo's PR because I'm curious. I'm a curious soul. Fix import hints breaking node paths in animation. Keep track of renamed nodes, which are processed first, so that animations, which are processed last, the paths can be fixed. Oh, interesting. I've never even noticed this bug. So you're saying what happens is you rename a node, and then it fails to correctly rename the node paths in the animation. Oh, and it has to do with renames that happen while importing a file? That is interesting. Ooh, and this is something you contributed back in October. Rebased 23 hours ago. Yeah, I hope your commit gets in there. Is this an exclusively master branch bug? It's, I guess, only in master you can rename things as you're importing them. In Godot 3 you have to rename them after, so I guess this wouldn't be a problem. I actually have not even tested out the new import screen for Godot 4. I have watched GIFs of it, but I haven't personally tested it. I'm definitely looking forward to using that more when I get into doing 3D stuff in Godot 4. Aircy, I have a 144 hertz monitor. Yeah, I think you, Aircy, are this one, because I've seen logs with you in them before and noticed that you got all of these extra interpolation frames, which I have to wonder how that looks on your end. Like, the game will still be playing out at the exact same speed, but you'll have just way more in between frames. So I wonder if the tanks kind of look more like they're gliding around rather than moving real sharply. I'd be curious to see like a video comparison or something. I mean, I guess a video comparison wouldn't work because who's recording a video at 144 hertz, or even what would this be? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames. So that would be, oh, I mean, you could record that in just mathematics here. Okay, so the distance between two green lines is 33 milliseconds, and so you would need to cram in 6 frames within 33 milliseconds. Okay, never mind. You would have to record it. You would have to record it at 144 hertz. But I would maybe, okay, if I had two monitors next to each other that I could compare it on, I would love to see how that visually looks. So Pier 4 must have been BIMDAV. Do you have something configured in your OS, BIMDAV, to like make VSync not be a thing? Because it definitely just looks like there's just no VSync happening. Like if I'm watching, what are you, Pier number 4, I can watch the times on the interpolation frame, which jump around. But yeah, it is just a ton of frames happening. So yours would have looked even smoother, or would have just taken like way more processing power because it's just running more frames, right? Anyway, so we were coming into here to do what? To test out. My computer the fan is kicked in. To test out jumping between piers. So now we're looking at Pier 3. Let's jump over to Pier 4. Ho-ho! Now we're looking at Pier 4. Let's jump over to Pier 2. Sweet. Okay, let's go into the state input view and let's increment it and see if we follow along the whole time with Pier 2. I forget who Pier 2 is, but I'm just gonna keep pressing this button. We maybe should add an autoplay button so that it just like plays without me having to just click this little up arrow forever. Cool. So it's definitely sticking with whoever we tell it to follow. It's jumping around, but I think we're going to encounter the issue that I was describing before we started doing this, which I'm not sure if anyone remembers because that was minutes and minutes ago. If I switch to a pier, it will not jump to this frame. It'll jump back to the beginning. So if I try switching to Pier 4, I'm now down here at state frame 0. And if I press up on here, now we'll jump to state frame 91. So we need another signal somewhere. Something that the state frame viewer can connect to and reset stuff when it happens, or if not a state, maybe because we do have some like special methods within the log inspector where we have the state input viewer and the frame viewer are like separate scenes, and when things happen we just call directly to some specific methods in there, and so maybe that's the thing to do. Take a look at the code, and decide what looks like the right thing to do. Aircy says, I do have 2 monitors, but nothing that let me record properly. It does look smooth though. Yeah, I wish I could see that. I'll have to, if I encounter someone with such a high refresh monitor, I'll be like, ooh, let's go play my game. So I can see it in person. Alright, so let me just test that these buttons all work. I'm gonna hit disconnect, and it killed it. Sweet. And I guess to do the next thing, we're actually gonna have to close this. But that's fine, because I wrote down the way we are going to adjust stuff. Why won't it let me close it? Oh, okay, it just took a while. All right, let's look at the code. So we are in the log inspector, which has access to both the state input viewer and the frame viewer. I think I like the second idea that I was talking about, that we just have some method on those that we call. And I think what we want to do is figure out what mode we are in, and then just call this method on the viewer that we have currently exposed. So we'll look at the mode button. Actually, what does it store in the mode button? Like, I'm going to go to the place where we do the selected here and see. Oh, cool. We actually have like a num here that will let us write some clean looking code. Yep, I defined it up here. Good thinking, previous David. You really set things up for current David to work on this problem. So we'll need to grab the index from mode button. I think there's a get selected index. Come on, autocomplete me. Is already defined. Oh, it's already defined up here. Oh, and we already have it. Cool. We don't need to grab it. Okay, so if this happens, we don't want to mess with these things. We want to instead call a method which is what should it be called? Replay refreshed? Something like that. We'll add it to both, even though there isn't like a replay mode for the frame viewer yet. We'll just make an empty method. Replay refreshed, does that sound like a good method name? Not really, actually. I mean, that's like a good signal name, but what's a good method name? Well, what are we calling the log data one? The other method that we're calling is refresh from log data. Okay, so maybe let's say refresh replay. That sounds more verby. Method names that sound like verbs are good. Refresh replay. Refresh replay. Okay, and we'll just go make a stub for the frame viewer one. We'll put it right under the refresh from log data. Refresh replay. And we need to put one in the state or input state. We don't have it open. Input state, no, it's state input. State input, there it is. State input viewer. And again, right below the refresh from log data, we'll add this other method. And we need to do whatever we are doing to send the state data to the replay client. Where is that? Okay, it is in here. And I think what we actually want to do is remove this. I'm gonna cut it, and then we'll call our own refresh replay here. Here we'll call this. So if replay server and replay server is connected to game, we send this message, which, how are we gonna get this? Okay, we, slight oversight. We need to actually get the frame from somewhere. So maybe we have to do this again. We'll get the state frame from the log data. We need the tick, and the tick needs to come from the tick field thing. What is it called? Tick number field value, I think, right? I think that's the method. It didn't autocomplete it. It's a little unsettling. And I don't know, I never remember exactly how the type coercion works in GDScript, so I'm just going to explicitly wrap this in a the int cast method thing. And let's try this. No, we want to be up here. And, oh, didn't change the right scene. I don't think I want to load the data from RMatch again because it'll just take so long. Maybe at the end of the stream, we can load that and poke around it some more. But to just make things go speedily, I will grab, I think it's this one I was using for testing earlier. Not the fastest, but faster. I really like this UI better that we just built. It makes way more sense what each of the buttons did. Like before I had the launch button next to the disconnect button, and they're really like on opposite sides of the model here. Okay, so we are testing that when we launch this, And we're going to go a bunch of ticks forward. Maybe I'll just enter a tick number. We have 4,000, we'll go to tick 2,000. We're looking at Pier 1. I'm going to jump to Pier 2. This looks very much like tick 1. Let me just... yeah. It did not take us... it did not take us right to the tick. What could have happened there? So, go to 1,000. And yep, that's definitely taking us to state 0. Not to the state frame for the tick we want. Oh, this is the wrong index. I'm using index for a different thing. That's why this isn't working. So I need the mode... yeah, okay. Mode button, get selected index, or is it a property for it? Get index? I might have to look at the docs for this. Might have to look at the docs for mode button, which is an option button, I think. Option button. Properties selected, and this is the index, right? Okay, the index of selected item is selected. Okay, cool. We need to get back into here. So, selected property. And we have to change this from index to mode. Okay. That should work. Hey, Casper Dragon Wolf! Howdy, welcome to the stream! And yeah, do I need to restart this? Or will it just start working after I made that code change? So let's move around here a little bit. And then I'm going to try jumping to Pier 2. Nope. Okay, it's either not working because I didn't do it right, or because we need to restart this. I love Godot's like auto reload of your code when you save it when you're already running in the debugger, but like it doesn't work sometimes, and that kind of invalidates it because unless it's immediately obvious that it's working, you always just have to restart to check like, okay, is it really running my new code? Because like I don't want to think that it works, but it's actually broken. But anyway, let's get down to, I think it's this one we've been using. I think this was actually a match I played with Elliot earlier in the week. I thought it was a test one that I did, but looking at it some more, the way that the clocks don't line up, and the fact that we were doing maze, I vaguely recall testing the maze level with Elliot. Working on your frame log viewer? Yes, I am working on the ability to actually play back the game using the data from the logs, which you will see again in a moment. So this launches the game as a replay client, and then we can go to the state and step through each frame of the game as a kind of replay. I'm vigorously clicking this button, which is really starting to get old. And we are testing that if I switch which pier we are viewing. No, what the heck? All right, time to set the debugger. Okay, so we are switching things. Let me put the breakpoint there. All right, we hit the breakpoint. We're about to go into state input viewer refresh replay. So I want to do step into. Here we are. If replay server and replay server is connected to game, step over that. We get the tick number, tick 61, good. We get the state frame. We should probably check that the state frame exists. I'm now realizing that it's possible that this can be null. So I'm now going to make our debug data totally invalid by doing that. And we are sending the message to load this state, which appears to not be doing its intended thing, though. Because let's just hit continue. Or did it work this time? I wonder if it worked because it was moving slower. Because I was running through it in the debugger. So I jumped up, debugger breakpoint still set. Let me hit continue. Yeah, that's interesting. It seems to work when the debugger slows the process down. So I wonder if it's a matter of processing the messages too quickly or something like that. You know, it actually, for me, works more frequently for script code than it does for changing properties for nodes. It's interesting that you have the reverse experience, Casper Dragon Wolf, because my experience is that changing scenes works 25% of the time, and changing code works like 75% of the time. Okay, so let's go look at the... I think the place to investigate this is in the sync replay. This is the client bit of code, and I want to look at it, how it's processing these messages. All right, so it's this poll method that is getting data. If the connection exists, if we are connected, if there are more than 4 available bytes, we grab the length, we grab some JSON, we parse the JSON, and we process it. So then we process it over here. We do setup match. Is there some reason that setup match is not synchronous? Because that could be the problem. So wait, we do setup match 1, do setup match 1. It is not synchronous. This is the problem right here. So what is happening is we're getting the message, we're processing it, but then we're doing this call deferred, which is queuing something to happen later, and then it comes back and does the next message, and then that happens before we're totally ready. So why are we doing that? Oh, because we actually change the scene when we do match setup. So I think what we need to do is actually have the sync replay stop processing messages when it's like part of the way through setting up a match. 75% of the time, it works every time. So I think we need to special case this, because this is a special case. The only time I think that this replay sync thing is going to do anything asynchronously is going to be in this like loading the new scene thing. So let's add kind of like a latch variable, which will be loading, or no, what are we calling it? We're calling it like match setup match. Okay, so we'll say setting up match. And then when we are processing the messages, we'll say while the available bytes is greater than 4. Actually, before that, we'll check the flag while not setting up match. And that, I like to put checking a flag first in these type of gates, because I know that this will be way faster than this. And I know that the second part of an AND won't even be processed at all if the first part is false. So while not setting up match and this, do these things, and then we just need to have this setting up match get set and unset at the right times. So actually no, I won't do it here because this is just sort of like pulling the messages apart, but it's actually calling these do methods to do the things. So it's here that I want to set it. We'll do setting up match right before this deferred call so it's clear what this is doing. And then once we get back from this method, the first thing we will do is clear this flag so that we don't get into a situation where later I add some conditional that makes this not happen, and then suddenly the client's completely unresponsive and we don't know why. Okay, so we get back here. setup match equals false. We have a condition where we can quit. That is cool. This all looks good. All right, let's try it again. And it disconnected correctly. All that looks good. That's awesome. Let's run the scene. Oop, I want to run it up here. Oh, actually putting it over here is probably a bad place because you guys see my face over there. I should be putting the replay client over here. I bet you guys can see that better. Still not best because there's the bar at the bottom. Anyway, let's, we'll test a workflow that I don't usually test, which is what happens if you open the client and then load the data. It should work. I added some code for it to work, but I have not tested it terribly often. So, oh, there we go. Peer 1 was available. It loaded it right in. And it reloaded it when Peer 2 became available. Not that anything really changed. Let's go to the state input viewer. Let's go to, say, frame 1000. And let's jump to Peer 2. Hey, okay, Peer 2 actually jumped to frame 1000. Cool, so this means all of our UI up here is now working for the state input viewer, which, like I mentioned at the beginning, is kind of the less interesting mode of the two. Oh, hang on. The overlay has been busted for how long? I'm sorry, guys. Oh, I didn't get to see Casper Wolfdragon's cool character. You got a nice one. You look like a proper knight. Chivalrous times. I haven't had a lot of chance actually to look at anybody's character since the beginning. Oh, Aircy looks sweet. Do you have a mustache? I think your character might have a mustache behind that shield. And your shield like really matches your armor and stuff too, which is totally random. There's no relation between what shield or whatever gets picked compared to your clothes. And Nyanel's looking pretty awesome too. You have like a gold crown and a relatively small short sword that's like a short sword or something with the gold shield. That looks really cool. Logan ended up in a dress with long hair. Not bad. Andy K, well, just looking like a dude. Just looking like a programmer. Bald head, beard, normal clothes. Slacks, some pointed armbands there. Aaron Winter, whoa, you look like a Dutch mountain man. You got the overalls and like some braided long hair. Like you look like you're in the mountains, like with the Ricola and herding some goats or something. All right, enough with that distraction. I think this is good to commit. I think this is looking awesome. I think the state input thing, other than perhaps having a button that can just like play through the replay automatically and let us like pause someplace, I think like that's everything we need for the state input viewer. The frame viewer, I think with the amount of time that we have left, we might not really get to, because that's a more sophisticated thing to figure out. I can sort of explain how I intend to do it though. I'm thinking you'll put the cursor at a particular spot, and then there will be a button here that will say replay through this frame, and it's going to replay for the particular peer that is shown up here. And it will have to, every time you hit that button, it's going to have to reload the state back to 0 and play through that frame. That's the only way to get the replay client into the state that you need to actually debug. And then you'll be able to do like next frame as much as you want to run a following frame. You will not be able to do previous frame. I mean, you could, right? But it would need to restart the client, go back to state 1, replay through, or state 0, replay through all the frames up until then to get things in the proper state. The trickiest problem, I think, in making this work is making sure that the client we launch here can connect to the debugger in the Godot Editor, because that's what I really want. What I really, really want is to be able to set breakpoints in my code and walk through line by line what happens in a frame the way it did in a match for a particular peer. That is the holy grail, and that is what I think will ultimately let me solve the problem that I was just banging my head against last stream and failed to solve. I even spent a couple more hours working on it after the stream. But yeah. So first things first. Let's make a commit of the thing we were just working on. Let's look at our git status and our git diff to make sure it looks like all the changes that are happening are changes we want to make. These visible equals false things are so annoying. The next time I load this scene and save it, this line's going to reappear. But whatever. This is like a slush branch. I don't have to make sure that that's totally clean until I'm actually merging upstream. Maybe I should. So this is the settings, frame settings. Save. And now you'll see that frame settings thing with the visible. Oh, it was actually the frame viewer. It's actually the frame viewer. That's just a thing that happens because we are working on pop-up windows that are tool scripts, which means their code gets processed while we're working on them, which just creates like this annoying thing. Yeah, I don't even know exactly why this one is happening, because this is like... I even see that it's visible false, like right here. Whatever. I'll just make sure that the diff is clean when I finally merge the patch to the main branch. Okay, so what did we do? We made it possible to switch peers when replaying state data, when replaying state in the state input viewer. I think that makes the most sense. That'll probably make the most sense to future David when I'm looking back at this. Okay, and we will push that. In our last 8 minutes here, what do we want to do? We could try to do another quick playtest. Maybe a real short match. How many eyeballs are actually still here? Ooh, 6 eyeballs. Okay. Let's do a quick playtest in our last bunch of minutes. We can go a little bit over 2. Maybe we'll crash the game and we can get some logs to inspect. Let me get all the links and stuff that you guys will need. Okay, here it's running a build. So I have it set up to automatically build the game for the 3 platforms that it supports. Mac, Windows, Linux, HTML5 every time I push a commit via GitLab CI. If that is something you might be interested in doing for your own game. I did make a series of tutorial videos about how to set that up. This will build in about a minute. Usually takes about a minute. This last one took 1 minute and 36 seconds. So I would expect it to be done in about that much time. I will use this time to clear out my previous build so I don't accidentally use an old build. Anyway, when this finishes, you'll be able to click these 3 dots. Oh, it's actually finished. Let me just reload the page here. Sometimes the like Ajax reloading stuff doesn't totally work. Okay, so you come here. Let me put this in the chat. Where's the chat? I've lost the chat. Yeah, where the heck is the chat? I had a... I'm going to reopen Restream chat. So Restream is cool and its chat feature is cool because it like synchronizes the chat between all the different services, but it doesn't always work. Or do I really only have... Why does it say now I have 1 eyeball? I said I had 6 eyeballs before, and now it says I have 1 eyeball. I do not trust you, Restream. We will attempt to do one last playtest. If it turns out there really is only 1 eyeball here, well, I guess it is what it is. But anyway, you'll come here, download the version for your operating system. I'm playing on Linux. It will download. I will unzip it. And I'll post a match ID for folks to get in here, and we'll see if anybody actually gets in here. And this is, of course, running the code that we just developed on stream. We didn't make any cool multiplayer changes. Unfortunately, we're just working on that tool. But this is the game built with our latest code. While I am waiting for folks to get in there, maybe... I don't know. I can poke around with adding like an autoplay button. Oh no, we have some people joining. Aha, sweet. This is gonna happen. How can I trust this eyeball thing? I have Restream Chat open on this computer. It says 6 eyeballs. I have Restream Chat open on this computer. It says 1 eyeball. But clearly Aircy and Tankslot are both there. Anyway, I don't know if anyone else is trying to get in. If you're trying to get in, like, say something in chat really quick. Otherwise, in like 10 seconds, I'm going to hit ready because I want to get this match going. I want to get this match going before we have to sign off here. 1, 2, 3. Let's do it. We will do... How about we do a deathmatch? Because I don't test deathmatches that much. For how much more time do we have? 4 minutes? 4 minutes. Let's do not teams because there's only 3 people. That would be unfair. Oh, Casper Wolf Dragon, you almost got in. You almost got in. Okay. You said in chat and I didn't see you. I'm sorry about that. Okay, sorry guys. Let's do it. I want everyone who wants to get in to be able to get in. Let me put another match ID. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Aircy and Ricardo for kicking you guys out, but let's do a 4-player, because 4-player is the best. Can you get back in there, Ricardo? I hope so. And we'll do a deathmatch for 3 or 4 minutes, whatever we have left. And here we go, sweet! The whole gang is here. Aircy, hit ready. Hit ready. There we go. We'll do a deathmatch. We'll do 4 minutes. We'll do teams because we rarely test teams. And okay, me and Casper Dragonwolf versus Aircy and Tankslot. I don't know if have you played the game, Casper Dragonwolf? If not, the controls are very, very simple and kind of what you would expect. Ah! The only sort of mysterious thing is if you get an ability, you have to right-click to do it. Ooh, I gotta keep my distance. Are there any power-ups yet? Power up. Oh, not worth it. No, no, invisible. Somebody's invisible. I got no power-ups. Ah! Ooh, attempting to regain sync. Ah! Okay, so we did get a little bit of a network issue there. That was interesting. I may turn on the network overlay just to kind of get an idea of what's going on. Our network situation actually looks pretty good. So it might have just been a momentary thing. We're getting, whoever Peer 3 is, it just shot up to 8 rollbacks on my end. 8 ticks of rollback. I'm not, like, really trying here. Sorry, guys. I'm looking at the network overlay. Okay, bye-bye network overlay. I gotta get serious. No, thanks a lot. You have a railgun? Come at me. Oops, sorry. Oh, Casper. Sorry. Out of here. Whew, boosted. Okay, I've got a boost and I've got a spread. That is a deadly, deadly combination. Ah, and I did not manage to use it well. Casper, we're losing so bad. Oh, we got to get Aircy. Yeah. Okay, we're on the board. Oh, we're totally tied it up. We tied it up, Casper. We're gonna do this. We're back in this one. Ooh, I got 2 of them near me, though. No, no, no! I need some power-ups, man. I'm not going to survive. Not going to survive. Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go. All right. I'm invisible! You don't know where I am! Oh my god, I'm surprised that worked. I'm surprised that worked. Did we pull ahead? No, we pulled behind. Oh, crap! Oh, geez, they're teaming up on you, Casper. Trying to get in there to help you. Okay, we got tanks a lot off you. Oh, let's take out tanks a lot. Let's take out Ricardo. Yes! Oh, we got a long way to catch up. We got a long way to catch up here. I think we still have enough time to do it, though, theoretically. No, no, what did you pick up? Oh, that was just like standing next to each other and shooting each other. Holy cow. I don't know how I came out of... Oh, and you got your revenge anyway. Here we go. Here comes my revenge. Oh, and you got 2 power-ups right by you? Jeez, no, what is it? What? No, Railgun, I need it, I need it! Whoo! Okay, no, sorry, Casper, I was just trying to shoot you. I shouldn't have done that. Ooh, nobody else is getting this Railgun. Where are you? Oh! No! Oh! Got me from behind. Jeez, how are we gonna pull ahead here? How are we gonna pull ahead? Railgun, Railgun, Railgun! Whew, whew. Okay, if I can just take out... Oh, geez. Invisible air sea! Invisible air sea! Oh, my railgun timed out. My railgun timed out. Whew. If I still managed to pull that one off. Okay, okay, okay. Where are you? Oh, no! Invisible! How did I win? No, what is happening? Pure chaos. Pure chaos. This game is definitely at its best when it is chaotic. Blue team pulled ahead. 12-9. Oh my god, that was awesome, guys. Oh, I turned off the overlay at some point. Whew. Whew. That was super fun. That was super fun. And we didn't crash the game, which is both good and bad. I mean, it's good in that the game is pretty stable. It's bad in that I would love to have some logs of the game crashing so that I could dig into them. But yeah, wow. Send me your logs anyway, guys. Send me your logs from that match. I will look at them. There's still a possibility that there were some state mismatches that were not fatal state mismatches, because the way state mismatches work is I have it configured to 10 state mismatches in a row is a fatal state mismatch, and that will crash the game. But there still might be some in there to investigate, and so I'd love to have your logs, send them to me in Discord. Ooh, I got a constant white tank bug for a bit. The one match I didn't record. So that is a bug that existed, and I thought I fixed it. So let me make a note of that. I thought I fixed it, but it appears to still be there. I will dig back into the code and see if I can find something that could cause that. Oh, Casper, I forgot to tell you to turn on the logs. I forgot to tell you to enable detailed logging. I'm sorry, that's my fault. I guess everybody who logged, please send me your logs. So Ercian and Ricardo. But guys, thanks so much for coming to the stream. Thanks so much for playing, testing, and hanging out. This was a great stream. We accomplished a bunch of things. There's still more good things to accomplish. Next week, I think I might move the stream to Thursday rather than Friday. I have a doctor's appointment on Friday. And since it's not a short week, I just figure I could swap the days and things should still work out. We are maybe going to work on a Webxr thing. Maybe more on this stuff. I don't know. Anyway, thanks again, everyone. Thanks for coming. Hope you have a good weekend. Take care, and I'll see you next time.